So, hello everyone. I'm Monica Kanchal, Product Director, GTM Technology, Salesforce.
Hello everyone, Aditya Thakur, Engineering Director, GTM Technology at Salesforce.
Thank you, Aditya. Okay, before we start, if you know Salesforce, we always start with our forward-looking statements. Any decisions you want to make to purchase any products from Salesforce or anything that we talk about here, please ensure that we are talking about a lot of things which are forward-looking, so ensure that is available to you in the market, and then you make those decisions. With that, this is our agenda. We are transforming pricing, unlocking value, and scaling trust. We talked about a lot of things today. A lot of this thing will look repetitive to you guys, but here what we are bringing is what we have done, some real challenges, some real stories, some real things. Strategies is at one place, ideas are there, but then there is a reality that hits the people, process, policy, technology. But how does it all come together? That's what we are going to talk about. Okay, one of the things Sangram did today was he started the conversation with what is GTM? You know what came to my mind? Being in the GTM technology, GTM is whatever makes money, whatever. Whether it is marketing, you do spend in marketing. Whatever it's sales, you go there. If it's your systems, if your CPQ systems, if it's your pricing strategy, whatever makes money is what GTM. GTM is all about bringing that revenue and maintaining those margins as well. With that, why the entire change has happened within the world, things started Silicon Valley is what I have started realizing more and more here. For us, Salesforce, we connect you with your customers in different ways. Since 1999, when we started, whether we were no software, it's like, okay, we are going to go cloud-based. We went into the mobile, we went into social, we went into different other ways to connect the customers to your customers. Now it's AI. So our basic goal hasn't changed, but the technology innovation has changed, and that's what we are riding the wave with. What has changed more? New economics of AI and agents. We are talking about here at the Usage Economy Summit. It's like where the need started. We were going through a lot of application transformation. During COVID, I remember a lot of new projects came up around transformation. We want to do something different, and we have time, and we have money in the market, and what do we do? What do we do? And it's like, but soon we realized we were capping. Every growth model, every pricing model was capping there. It's like the traditional things are not working anymore. Value was not per seat. If you look at all the softwares, the applications that you are purchasing, the licenses you are purchasing, you may only be using 50% of the features, not the 100% of the features that a product is doing. This is a sad reality, but that's where the problem is also. Value is not per seat moving forward. Costs are variable. We talked about, so many people today talked about the GPU, the tech stack. Like the cost to serve is actually, I saw someone saying $70, but the customer want to purchase at only 10 cents. Salesforce, we face this exact same problem. We actually, when we started this whole AI thing, is like, oh yeah, we can go build all these agents and all. Our infrastructure team came, is like, we are drying down. You are using agents too much for your experimentation. Can we optimize it further? That's a true story. That's how things happen. Like you want to go and start, you ask the 80,000 employee companies like, hey, go experiment. Yes, we want to experiment, but we want to optimize also. So don't forget that. So whenever you are thinking about, yeah, we want to experiment AI, be very strategic about it. Demands experimentation, yes, and that's what the key is. You cannot just say, hey, we will have a 3-year roadmap, 5-year roadmap. Those are old days. I'm not seeing that anymore. Yeah, you can have a vision, the roadmap. I'm in product, and I work with Aditya so much. Aditya always tells me, Monica, what is your product? And I'm like, I can only tell you about next 6 months. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I can tell you about more not more than 3 months, because the technology landscape is changing so fast that what I am talking about today is not relevant tomorrow because of the technology, not because of the business process has changed, not because of the policies have changed or anything, it's just the technology advancement. That's why we need more and more experimentation. Limited channels, markets. If you think about where our users are, you think about where like people are on LinkedIn, we as professionals, we think about we are on LinkedIn, Twitter and all. The next generation is on Instagram, TikTok. So what are the channels we are? We are into B2B, but soon everything will be B2C. That middle layer that we have of B2B is going to, those lines will start getting blurred and blurred. And that's where you have to think about beyond the channels and the markets that you are into today. So some of the solutions we were thinking about, everyone talked about pay as you go, because then it is only talking about pay as you go in terms of payment. We are talking about pay as you grow. If you grow, then you pay us, which is what we all are talking about, outcome-based payments and all those things. Scale elastically. So you can have one power user doing your jobs to be done will be like, okay, it can do 10, actually it can do now 50 using the AI. But how do you convert that into the value and outcome? You don't want to kill that one person and giving them those 50 jobs, but you have to ensure that it is actually able to do those 50 jobs. So those are real things that we saw on the ground when we were giving these power users, like now you have an AI and go and start using that. The value is not there. So some places we saw the value, some places it was dead. So that's why when we talk about these pricing models and all, depending on outcome, you may or may not see those outcomes because you are asking that one person still do more. Unlock the innovation we've talked about a lot here in terms of like how AI can make it better for you, even in terms of estimations, in terms of forecasting, hard problems. We are talking about data. Behind the scenes usage is about millions and trillions of data records that are out there that you need to take it in the raw format, mediate it, meter it, rate it, everything, and then present it to the customer that it can understand. That transparency is the key. That's where you need to figure out what that innovation can be. And faster GTM to new channels and the markets that I just touched upon before. With that, I'll give it to Aditya.
Thank you, Monica. By the way, you stole my thunder. I also wanted to start with the question that Sangram asked earlier in the day, that what is GTM? What is the definition of GTM?
Let's start with that.
And I think that one word that came out was GTM is business. And if I think a little bit more about it, that means the synergy and the strategy related to all these business functions have to come together in order to have a successful GTM. And now Monica is talking about transformation of this GTM from a license-based to a usage-based. So that means we have to go through the same set of business functions, the people, process and policy, as well as the technology challenges of all these business functions, and how all of them comes together in order to go towards the summit of monetizing usage. So next I would like to go through those challenges that we noticed. Those were the first-hand challenges, and that gave us a lot of learning on how we are moving towards the summit. The first and the foremost is, it's not just about how you are selling a product or how you are marketing a product. What is your financial strategy around it? What is your revenue recognition strategy around it? How are you forecasting it? Things like overage model, wherein most of the time the customer is committing before, like upfront, is a model which can be managed. But think about a pre-commit model wherein customer is only committing for certain amount, and then going beyond, they are asking for either rollover of the credits, or they are asking for the rates that should match the contractual rates, not the premium rates. So how are you going to define your revenue recognition there? So those challenges we faced. Second one, data. Like, you are getting a lot of data in form of the usage. That telemetry has to be coming to the system. Now you are driving your billing out of it. So your system has to scale, your process has to scale, your operations has to scale to match this kind of usage-based upscale of data. So that's where billing and platform limitations we faced upon. Number 3, this is a big one. New offerings. Now, one of the things that in usage-based products, if you have some historical data, it is challenging, but still you can develop some kind of a model for budgeting and your financing by the customer. For an example, if you want something around how many APIs we want to use, or how many phone calls, SMSs have been done, you have some historical data. But think about Agentforce, wherein you are talking about conversation, you're talking about actions that it takes, the cases that it resolves. That data is not yet there. And when this kind of new offering comes, it is very challenging to define the go-to-market models for those kind of products. We talked about policies. It touches people too, customers. How would they budget their finance in order to get the product? Likewise, sellers, from a seat-based selling to a usage-based selling, how is that going to impact their compensation? So those are some very critical challenges that we noticed. M&As, definitely, we have done a lot of M&As, and many M&As have brought in new models, and that's where we had to overcome those challenges. At the end of the day, the most important thing that we wanted to say is, when we are transforming our business, it is multiple steps, and it is bound to that you will take some missteps. You will miss some steps. So embrace that, make that improvement, and then go forward. That is what we learned. So how did we overcome this? The first thing was building the foundation, right? The challenges that I said is same thing that I mentioned before, the trust layer, that you will have to have a very solid policies, you will have to have your customer and seller enablement, your system readiness, as well as analytics. Those are some of the things that you have to do. But let's quickly look at some of the models that we are selling right now, and I wanted to focus on the tipping point. We got Pardot, Exact Target, Marketing Cloud. 2015, we integrated it with our system. That's an overage-based model. That means customer commits upfront, and if they go in overage, they have to give that in premium rates. There is no rollover of credits if they are missing it, right? Then we got Slack. They are more of a true-up model, similar to overages, but here we are inclined towards truing up the contract rather than creating an overage order. But then we have got this agentic transformation, wherein even the industry is trying to figure it out, that how much conversations or how much actions an agent would be taking. And that's where there was multiple models that came into market. In fact, 3 of them came this year. Pay as you go, wherein there is no upfront commitment. Pre-commit, wherein you are committing for a certain amount, and then you go forward. If you are going overages, at that time it is on the contractual rate rather than the premium rate. And last but not the least, the flex credits. All of them are coming together with one motive, that how can we create value, how can we bring more fungibility in the usages that are available to the customer, and how can we drive these agentic models. Trust layer is very important, and that's one of the foundation that we build on. How does customer trust around the data that we are sharing, the invoices that we are sharing? For that, we have developed Digital Wallet. It's a self-service portal wherein customer can go and see near real time of their usage. This is a game changer and got a lot of confidence and good feedback from the customers that they know what they are using, especially in pay-as-you-go model. The notifications, like threshold notification, you have reached 80% of your consumption, a monthly notification around what they have used. Those are some of the important notifications that customer definitely like, plus a model that will help them calculate the usage. So if you look at our website, there is a usage calculator wherein the customer can go and calculate, and based on that, they can predict how much they would want to. Observability and compliance are two no-brainer pillars of trust, wherein you are dealing with millions of data. How are you bringing observability so that you're not breaking your system, as well as you're not generating incorrect usage meters for the customers. The compliance, as you are dealing with a large amount of data as well as dollar value, all these SOX and other compliance comes into picture, and how are you building your observability across the systems are very, very important. So that's what we built in order to support this transformation. Now, did we succeed? Let me hand it over to Monica to talk about what worked here and what didn't.
Awesome. Not everything is a rosy thing for all of us, as either you are as a partner or as a product company, as a finance or a GTM. But what worked for us, I'll start. We are the customer zero at Salesforce. Our team, particularly, we talk about that. Our finance team, our GTM teams, whatever you want, you are going to use, we are going to use first, so that we want to see how the product is working, how our technology, all the good things that you talked about, Aditya, like digital wallet and all. We wanted to see when we are using Agentforce, how is it working? Is it giving me all the things that I'm looking for? Is it helping my customer, which is my finance or CFO and CROs? And when we take the same thing to our customers, will it help them or not? So that truly works. So whatever you are building, use it internally. We always say that. And I think most of the people are doing that, but they go with a very rosy picture. Don't. The more you use the product in the most unnatural ways, sometimes you will find more things there, because your customer, no matter how many times you tell them that this is a square peg, you have to go with a square thing only. They will use something round. So that's what customers do. So bang your product. That's what we do. Now, what other things worked for us was high growth segments. Adoption was faster when the transparency increased. Transparency in the sense what we are doing, how we are calculating the meter, how we had multipliers out there. We had every calculation very, very transparently shown to the customer, every data point shown to the customer. Those are the places where we suddenly saw, like, okay, those customers are returning customers. Those are the ones that wants to talk to us. They want to purchase more, as compared to, but they were also in the high growth, right? The ones which are not growing, any company which is not on that scale right now, they definitely, no matter what we do, there were still some concerns there. We found some new monetization levers and deal expansion ways when we started looking at the consumption patterns. This is very, very important. This is where we say, when we say experiment, you actually start looking at your product, how it is getting consumed. When you look at your product consumption, I was talking about like 100 features, only 50 are used, then you can actually clearly say what you need to invest into and all. Your consumption patterns are very, very important there. On a seat license-based product, it's very hard to find. But on a consumption-based product, it's very easy to find. And then you can figure out where your money should be going, or what your customers are really using and can want in future. Reduction in revenue leakage. Another big one, actually we found somewhere 100 million were leaking somewhere in the consumption, and we were like, oh, we never knew about that. And happens, big company, things roll off, and we are like, oh, now we have to capture that. Those are all the things you can only sometimes do it when, or find it when you are on a consumption model, not really on some other models we found that successfully. Everything else is like someone said that, someone has a gut feeling, yes, there is some data, and it depends on how people are looking at the data or reading the data, but consumption is gives such a clear picture to you that data speaks for itself. What didn't work? I think someone else also touched today in the morning that rev-rec forecasting discounting policies didn't evolve at the same time pace as the pricing strategy and technology was evolving. It is very, very hard for them sometimes because they have to go by the rules, the gap, the FASB, what not is there. They can't just in a whip, like technology is like, oh, we are going to experiment this and we are going to build the product like this. Pricing is like, yeah, I can monetize it like this, but RevRec is like, no, wait, you can't just do like this. We don't want other mishaps to happen or a compliance gaps to happen. So we really, that is what we are facing, but that is also an opportunity we are seeing there that how do we empower our RevRec more and faster? How do we bring them to the conversations even when the product is just in building? Sometimes that reads of roadmaps and all really help them. Legacy SKUs, everyone has that, conflicting with your new models. There are things that you are attached to, everyone is attached to. There are SKUs that you're selling, the customer is already on that. There is a price point, customer is loving it. They don't want to move, probably you also are afraid of moving, and that it conflicts with your new model that you want to sell. You want to bundle up things, you want to swap things, you want to transfer licenses. All that, it's a risk. You want to go and talk to a customer and sometimes it opens up can of worm. So you have to think about it. We actually saw that with the customers. We actually saw that with our sales team. Misaligned compensation, already talked about a lot today. Sellers don't love consumption, to be very honest. They don't really, because if you tell them that you are going to get compensated based on the consumption that has been done rather than what you have sold, yeah, they don't love it. But then that's a change in mindset that we have to do. We have to get the data in front of them. We have to, again, the transparency is not just for the customer, but for your internal teams as well. Premature pricing complexity confused the field. That did happen with us. We, as Aditya showed, like 2, 3, 4 or 5 models, and every product has a different model. Field is confused, like which product I'm selling on which model, and explaining that to the customer. Like if your single quote has 5 products, each with a different pricing model, you are just not sure how customer is going to understand and not sure how your sellers will be able to explain them. So optimize it, make it better, or make it clearer for them. We talked about no historical data. That was one of the biggest one. The estimated tools that can help customers were not there, and it was very, very hard. It was challenging conversations with the customers at that time. It's like how much you should buy. And then we got into like, okay, let's just adopt. Let's focus on adoption first. Let's forget about anything. Someone talked about a contract snowflake example. We are actually in that. It's like, okay, just adopt. We'll talk about contracts later on. So usage overall is the signal of value and not just a metric. We have to continuously focus on the value, use the metric, but it is just not a metric. Road ahead for us, very simple. We are talking about flex credits. Everyone talked about flex credits. It's not easy. Think about you have a Amazon gift card, Target gift card. Now you are talking about, oh, everyone should get a Visa gift card. There should not be an Amazon and Target. How do you get that? My Tableau GM is saying, how do I show, how much is that I am getting for the usage that is being done on my product versus my MuleSoft GM is saying how much I get it. Everyone has to run their own P&L. Every product has to run their own P&L. That's a problem. That's not an easy problem for an enterprise company like a Salesforce to solve for, but that's what we are solving for. We are coming up with something called super entitlements, some seamless swaps ins and swaps outs, and some transparent multipliers that can truly help in bringing that clarity to each GM. Is like, okay, this is how much is being used by your product versus your product, and this is how the profits are going to be, or the revenue is going to get booked. Next gen estimate models. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, no, actually you already touched based upon it that building a smart estimator tool for the customer is a paramount need. Like how can a customer gain confidence about how much usage they should buy for? If from a customer perspective, over committing is a problem because then you are leaving away a lot of usage that they have never used it. Under committing is also a problem because then you are going into overage, and overage rates are always at premium rate as compared to the contractual rate. So building this, using AI models, going through the different customers, the seed customers, and getting the trends from there is a need of ours, and that's where we are focused on building this next gen estimator tool.
Awesome. Last not the least, redefining enterprise metrics. This is very crucial. Something that has taken you from your 90s to 2000s to 2025 may not be true from 2025 to 2050. So think about how you want to run your business, what new metrics you can actually bring. Again, don't just focus on features, focus on the value that it creates for the customer. So your metrics need to change. We have been talking about ARRs and those kind of things. There can be new things. What is your net new order value that is coming? What is your net consumption rates? Those are the newer things that you can think about when you are getting into the business and thinking about how you want to adopt this usage models. With that, on time, questions? I don't know, I have time for questions, but okay.
Or we can meet. We are here. If you have any questions, please feel free to talk to us. Thank you so much for your patience and listening to us.